In an effort to defend himself, Greg Pabbitch has revealed the total amount it cost to produce and ship one of the Cheetahmen 2 reproduction carts, as if the cost of the cart is the main issue with this project to begin with. If his statistics are correct, it cost him $44.42 to produce and ship out a Cheetahmen 2 reproduction that he's charging $60 for, meaning he makes about $15+ of profit per cart. I really have no issues with this. The man deserves to make a profit if he's selling something, even if it is an incredibly stupid product. Where I have an issue, and have been arguing this the whole time, is that he hasn't just set up a pre-order service and allowed people to buy the cart if they choose. He's instead made it a Kickstarter fundraiser project where you can just donate money to him. On top of that, his project is being supported by AVGN and a couple other popular YouTube channels with over 800,000 loyal followers combined. If Greg Pabbage is making $15.58 in profit per cart sale, why does he need donation support, much less donation support from over 800,000 people? Since the project started, Greg has been paid at the very least $210 per day from donations. Donations meaning payments at the first 3 pledge ranges where people are not receiving a copy of the game. Keep in mind people are welcome to donate more than the minimum for each pledge range as well. Now some might argue, Alec, those aren't donations. Those people are paying for a product. Well, let's look at the first pledge range together, shall we? For pledging between $1 and $4.99, you get to be on Greg's wall of shame, whatever that means. I'm assuming your name goes on a piece of paper next to his Cheetaman shrine or something. Either way, you're receiving nothing for your payment. For pledges between $5 and $14.99, you get a comic book, which Greg has now stated on the Kickstarter page costs 39 cents to produce, and then add in maybe $1 shipping cost that he has to pay. So Greg pockets at least $3.61 for every one of those pledges in that second pledge range. For pledges between $15 and $59.99, you get a comic book as well as a poster signed by the guy that originally programmed and profited off this shitty game back in the day. Greg doesn't declare how much the poster costs to make, but let's assume it's around 30 cents, making this pledge level's production cost a whopping $1.69, including shipping, assuming the poster is folded and not sent out in a tube. The point I'm trying to get across here is that Greg Pabbage is getting donations, money that isn't going towards cart production, which is supposed to be the entire goal of the project. At the current rate, Greg will have received a bare minimum of $6,300 in donation money by the last day of this project. This isn't even taking into account the excess money Greg is getting from the high-tier pledges of $100 or more. Speaking of those high-tier pledge bonuses you get, many of them are items Greg has had laying around his house left over from his last project called Cheetahmen the Creation. Greg's Kickstarter states that the goal of the project is to fund production of 1,000 carts, but Greg clearly confirms that a cart costs $44.42 to make and ship. Multiply that by 1,000 and you obviously have over $15,000 left over as profit when the goal is met. Now this is where it gets really interesting. A guy named Civac D, who has had his homemade NES games released in the form of reproductions in the past, contacted me. And he said that he didn't need any money to start selling his reproductions. He simply signed a contract with RetroUSB.com, and for every cart ordered, one was produced. So here we have someone who, just like Greg, has had his games sold as reproductions, stating that there's no need to produce 1,000 copies of a game in order for it to be sold. So now that we've confirmed that Greg is receiving donations that are not going and do not need to be going to cart production, let's look at the man himself. Greg owned his own business that distributed movies and video games to major companies like Walmart and Blockbuster. He currently lives in Texas in a 5-bedroom, 5-bath house valued at over $600,000. In an episode of The Game Chasers called Rival Turf, you can see Greg flaunting stacks of original Action 52 games along with original Cheetaman 2 games, some complete, some sealed. These games are valued between $250 and $2,000 each. So, in conclusion, a massively endorsed fundraising campaign has been issued so that a wealthy man can be overpaid to produce 1,000 copies of a shitty game that only about 400 to 500 people might purchase in the end. Not to mention, if the $65,000 goal isn't met, he can simply donate his own money so that it is met. And considering he's receiving hundreds of dollars in donations per day, on top of a $15+ profit on every cart sale, this would not be costly for him to do.